Marcelo. Hello, Marcelo. Good to see you. And we have and Ken. Hey, Ken. With the sci-fi cartoons in the background and all that. That's wonderful, wonderful. Excellent, excellent. Does anybody need a quick round of introduction from somebody else on this call, or is everybody fine in terms of knowing a little bit of who everybody is? Raise your hand if you need a quick round of introduction. All it takes is a few minutes.
Well, I don't think I know Jason well, but I'm about to send you a LinkedIn invitation.
Okay, great. Thank you, Anne. I'll just do a quick intro. I recognize many of you from some of the other OpenExO events and ExO World and such, but I am the Chief Operating Officer for an organization called the Adventure Travel Trade Association, and we're a for-profit organization with a membership of adventure travel tour operators around the world and destinations. And so I got interested. I took the Exponential Organization Consultant Certification course with Lars probably about 6-7 months ago, I would say. It was late last year, and had focused on that as an interest around our organization. We were in a rapid growth pattern and getting ready for a big year in 2020. And then COVID-19 hit, and now we're in the bottom. So unfortunately, our whole industry has been completely impacted by this, where most of our members are, they're tour operators, but they focus on international tours. So not only can they not fly, they're looking at international restrictions, et cetera, et cetera. So, we've gone through a big adjustment as a part of all this. And so I wanted to, dive in a little bit deeper and not only look at this for our organization and understand the work better for our organization, but also potentially for some of these other partners and members around the world and destinations around the world that are highly impacted by the situation. So, so thank you for letting me join.
I used to work, I don't know if you know the company Adara, but they're based in Silicon Valley, and it's a travel data company. They help travel companies monetize data through insights and analytics and advertising.
I have not heard of them.
But I'm happy to, I just connected to you, so we can chat a bit more about that.
Yeah, definitely, because I focus a lot, as with all these changes, I'm focusing more on the technology side of what we do. And building automation and helping not only our organization become more efficient, as we grow back out of this, but also, share that knowledge and information with our industry.
Awesome. Can I just ask one last question, Lars?
Yeah.
Can you tell us what your favorite adventure travel experience has been?
Oh, there's been a lot of them. I would say, we do events, and in 2008 we did an event on a Hurtigruten ship in Norway, and which doesn't sound like much of an adventure, except we went through near hurricane experience, where we were having 30, 40 foot swells hitting the ship, and it was bouncing all over the place. So that was quite an experience, trying to run a conference on a ship that was bouncing all over the place. Yeah. So I think that's the one that sticks out in a lot of people's minds. It's not too extreme, but at the same time, quite an interesting experience.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my goodness, yeah. What an adventure. Excellent. Let's get started. I think we are a small but amazing group here. So I really want to see if if you have specific topics that we could touch on during the session here. And while you're thinking about topics or questions, the theme that I have proposed for the session today, and I'm planning on going into that as well, is actually ExO coaching. But more than that, it's that I think we're underutilizing the power of coaching in an ExO context when we work with clients, both before the key services we deliver, but also during and also after. I think we can play a much bigger role in coaching at all levels of our clients' organization. So that's really what I'm here to suggest, that we can do more on this and share some ideas. And I hope you can take some of that away from the call and some inspiration. This call is really about sharing ExOperiences, right? That was the crazy name that came to my mind when I had to find a name for this recurring session that I have been hosting for about a year now. In August, it will be a year. So ExOperiences, that's really us coming together and sharing our ExOperiences with each other. It's a community activity in the OpenExO community. And it's been, there's always been a strong support from the community to do this. And as I said, the best people show up for this session. So that motivates me to keep going and keep hosting everybody who is interested in joining, right? So coaching is something I'm planning on talking more about on this call. Is there anything else that we should touch on during this session? Questions or something? It could be something that, you know, it could be we could help Jason maybe. And I think maybe coaching, I'll try to weave coaching into that as well, Jason, to see how could you play a role in your industry to actually help your partners, your clients, the operators through these challenging times and get out on the other side of this COVID-19 thing. What role could you play in that, right? And I'm sure you're playing amazing roles. Maybe we can inspire you to get some new ideas. That would be an amazing takeaway as well. The chat is open, right? So feel free to, if you already have ideas for Jason or for others, you know, just boom, put them out there. Also questions. But I think now that we are here and we're not that many, let's do a quick round of introduction so everybody gets to speak up and say hi, and so we get to know each other a little bit better. That's also one of the objectives I have with these community calls, is really that we keep building new connections in our network. And Anne and Jason already built a connection there. That's amazing. So I almost accomplished the first part of the objective of the call, but I would love more connections happening. So I think, Anne, you suggested we hear more about Eric's plans for high schools and college interns. I love that. Over to Eric for a brief intro of yourself and these amazing initiatives.
Thanks, Lars. Thanks, Anne. And thanks all of you for joining. This is obviously my first visit, so glad to be part of all the fun. And for those of you who don't know me, I know most of you on the call, so good to see you again. It's so interesting that we're all pretty dedicated in this in one or more endeavor. Recently formed a startup here in the Boston area in the States called Boston ExO, and we're sort of billing ourselves as an ExO consultancy, right? So like many of you, we're trying to get some work here in the space. I suspect we're going to pivot and evolve in the coming weeks and months, but at least initially that is the thought. And one of the ways that we're trying to help youth here in the area, and quite frankly around the world, is through an internship. At least here in the States, the youth unemployment rates for ages like 14 to 18 is north of 30%. And with the summer being here, it's probably going to, you know, crash 50 or above. So we wanted to sort of do our part to do that. And For those of you that might have seen on our website and just on LinkedIn, we have been fortunate enough to have many of you consulting with, helping us with this program. Anybody who wants to get involved, would love to have you come on board. But the idea is to do an educational as well as kind of a real world hands-on experience with the students this summer. It's going to run for about 10 weeks, hopefully starting this coming Monday, June 15th, and run 10 weeks straight from there. And one of the big thoughts we had was to actually run students through a 10-week ExO sprint, of course, modified for students and, you know, TBD and kind of rolling that along. We'd also like to walk them through the content from exponential organizations, encourage them to read it, of course, but we are open to high school and college students. And we'll kind of go from there. But, you know, we want to do something real world, hands-on, tangible that not only benefits Boston ExO, as well as our clients, but also the greater community.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. And as Eric says, reach out to Eric. Even if you don't immediately see how you can get connected, reach out anyway. I've had several amazing conversations with Eric about what he's doing and what I'm doing, and there's so much synergy in the education space. There's so much we need to do in that space. I just love that initiative. So well done, Eric. Looking forward to see it all unfold and deliver a ton of exponential value.
Thank you.
Hey, Eric, do you think you're going to have them do a sprint on one of your clients' problems, or one of your clients, you know, industries, or?
We of course, yeah, we of course would love to do that. We don't currently have any clients who we could work with who would be open to that given our time frame. We would welcome that. If anybody has a connection, we would certainly reach out. And even if it's a modified less than 10-week sprint, the backup default plan is to have the interns do that sprint with and for Boston ExO. Cool.
I've been doing, can I jump in, Lars?
Yes,
So I'm Ann Riley, for those that I think I know most everyone as well, but Ann Riley, I'm based in Barcelona, and I've been working with Lars on a sprint that we just about finished in Morocco for a large agricultural company. It started just before, just as COVID started rolling around the world, and it was a great experience, but challenging because, you know, it's a culture that has never worked at home before, and they thought we can't do this, it's not possible, and we were able to convince them to keep going, and we got through week 10 last Friday. And, you know, there were some, you know, big emotions there of like, oh my God, we did it, and we did a great job. And so, you know, that transformation certainly happened with that team. So that was quite fulfilling. And they're going to have the formal launch session in a week or two. So that's been occupying a lot of time. It was a 10-week sprint that went about 14 weeks, given some pauses for adjusting to the COVID world. But it was a very interesting experience that I think we can also share a lot of information on. But the other thing I'm doing, which might also be interesting, Eric, in our approach, is that I've been working with ExO, which is it's an organization funded by the Catalan government, and they help businesses in Catalonia to be more competitive, and they have 20 offices abroad as well. And they earlier in the year, they ran a 5-week sprint. So the first 5 weeks of the sprint, and they had 2 participating Catalan companies with one core, one edge team. And then they also, from ExO, they had 10 people in their innovation division taking it as well, doing the sprint, a core and an edge team. And they were positioning that more as training in terms of how to get the budget to do it internally. And then the teams came up with with initiatives. We had a disrupt session we had one advisor call, but just even doing the first 5 weeks was highly valuable to all of the participants. And I think there is a desire for some of the other companies to move forward, and the initiatives that came out of the first sprint for the core side, they're actually pursuing both of them internally. And so now we're doing a second round of the first 5 weeks. So it's just the point that I think the first 5 weeks actually offers a really good training base, and you might want to look at that as well for interns, because it is a huge amount of information to absorb.
So is there any, so that's the coaching course?
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Is there any way to certify folks
So
other than?
we didn't have them coach each other. So they didn't have that experience, which is, a 1 week experience, and which does, have a lot of benefit. But they are talking with Yaroslav about whether, they could issue a 5 week sprint certificate.
Okay.
But we didn't do the coaching angle of here's how to coach.
Yeah, because we've been thinking of using the coaching course as a training, as a way to get into organizations, to train them to be more innovative. And as well, they get the certifications and they can run that under their training budget.
Yep.
And use their own scenario, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think it's a good approach, and I think there's more companies that can do it. Kind of, is it the sprint or the consulting class, the course, which is 4 weeks, but going through the 5 week, it's a different time commitment as well, as but I think going through the process, I really think it helps them. It's going to help them speak with other companies in this case as well, to talk to their clients in Catalonia, and then they're helping companies expand abroad, and they're also trying to attract investment into Catalonia. So I think actually going through the sprint in this case is really kind of open. We're in week 2 right now, so it's their eyes are opening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're using Sci-Fi Hive as well as an entry point in our sales flow, because it's a very fast way to help the organization envision. What we're saying now is envision 15 years out, and then we can use the ExO processes to get you there in 2 to 5 years. And it seems to be starting to really kind of catch on and work really well. Whenever we talk about it with organizations, they get super engaged and excited about doing one of those events. And because we were having trouble getting into organizations with just the ExO model. But if we go in after they've done a Sci-Fi Hive and they've built their 15-year vision of where they want to get, and it's compelling to them, then they want to figure out how to get there as quickly as possible. And then it's easier to talk with them about ExO and how we can get them there much faster.
Exactly. So you're launching a hive on monetizing personal data?
Yeah, we're actually, it came actually out of the coaching course when I took the coaching course. So I'm working with two of my fellow coaching members from Germany, and with Yaroslav. So our coaching course was interesting because we did BMW, but we kind of wrapped the whole core of all of our initiatives, the core and edge initiatives, around the idea that there's some core infrastructure around personal data and personalization based on that. which Yaroslav found really interesting. So what we're doing is we're running our own sprint on monetizing personal data. And so we're going to do a sci-fi hive on that, and really inviting anybody around the globe that wants to be involved in that. Kind of sitting between week 1 and week 2. So we did research in week 1. And the way the sci-fi hive process works is after you're registered, a few days, like 7 days before the event, we send you videos and research and all kinds of stuff about how the process works, how to write a narrative, how to use the tools we use in a session, and as well all that research we did in week 1. And then we kind of kick off the ideation with a sci-fi hive. So it's almost sits between week 1 and week 2 as input into week 2. We're obviously running this sprint a little bit slower because the 4 of us are quite busy. So we're trying to fit it, and we're kind of doing 2 weeks for each week, right?
Yep.
And because it's more of a community kind of thing, you know, and we got ExO World Canada going on, and really trying to grow ExO in Canada, get some visibility here in Canada.
When is ExO World Canada going to be?
It's not till September 24th and 25th. But so it's, our MTP is Inspire Action. And what we want to do is take that next step beyond Inspire. I think the events that have been on so far are very inspiring, but people are still walking away saying, well, what do I do now? And so what we're trying to do, so day 1 will be similar to ExO World, a lot of speakers, a lot of networking. Day 2, the morning of day 2 will all be sci-fi hives on different industry tracks and developing the future vision. Presenting those in the afternoon. And what we're doing is trying to attract partners and investors to pre-invest in sprints post-conference, post-summit. And so as part of that, they're going to get a future vision of their industry developed by the Canadian community, which we will then, a 15-year vision, which will then help them get to in 2 to 5 years. So we're trying to find ways to develop a fund here in Canada to support innovation through the ExO model.
Mm-hmm. Super interesting.
Yeah, and we have these things in Canada called super clusters. So there's 5 super clusters that are government supported. They've got a, you know, couple $100 billion in a fund that they haven't been spending very efficiently. And so we're trying to access those funds,
Okay.
and to try and support some of these partnerships.
And being creative around, how to actually generate value in this process.
Yeah. And we're, you know, trying to get more small and medium-sized enterprise involved. Canada's very risk averse. You know, our corporations are very risk averse. Our government's extremely risk averse. So we're trying to shift into the small, medium size, and they're a little less risk averse, a little bit more agile and adaptable. And you know, the message we're putting out is, you don't need to be a government or a corporation to change the world anymore.
Oh.
Right.
The SMEs kind of have to take action, right? There.
Yeah.
All right. Cool stuff. Let's see how we can also help Ken during the call, maybe with some thoughts and ideas. But you're doing exciting things, Ken. So we can always come back to the topic when an idea suddenly comes to the surface during the conversation. I'm very keen to hear the voice of everybody, because every time somebody opens their mouth, exciting things are coming out. So I want to say hi to Pedro. I just saw you joined. Hey, Pedro, how are you, sir?
Hi, sorry I'm late.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We are happy to wait for you, sir. You're one of the few people who can join anytime you want, right? I also know Pedro from the Was it the consultant course, I think, Pedro?
Yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys that we're working right now with the Inter-American Development Bank. We're starting on the 1st of July a program that is going to be named Pacific Alliance Company Builder. And what we're going to do there for the next 6 months or so is trying to develop companies making a fusion of the Purpose Launchpad methodology from Francisco and the evidence-based entrepreneurship methodology from the World Intellectual Property Organization. And we want to develop solutions based on ExO model that are pushing for the new world order in all the topics you can think of, food, health, future of work, companies, what have you. The interesting thing is that we're going to be working with the teams for over 6 weeks. And then after that, we're going to give the teams to the Pacific Alliance, which is that has governments from Mexico, Colombia, Chile, and Peru. And they're going to be supported by different organizations in the 4 countries and the IDB. So that they can get help on tech transfer and then acceleration. And we're hoping that by December, they're sitting with people from angel networks and investment funds. So it's interesting because it's, as far as we know, the first exercise of company building that goes all the way from ideation to investment in 6 months. So we're hoping it works.
Yeah. We need acceleration in these challenging times. There's not too much time. So I think acceleration is much appreciated everywhere. So it sounds like the timing is right for these initiatives. Yes. Looking very much forward to follow that, Pedro. It's an awesome opportunity for those who win the golden ticket to join it. How do people qualify to join, or what's the process
So
there?
we're gonna be probably posting all the info by the end of the week. We're inviting people from Purpose Alliance, OpenExO, and other networks in the region. We're searching for teams, which is a very important difference from the ExO challenges. We don't want individuals. We're not going to be forming teams because there's a lot of friction in the process. And basically, we just want guys that have been working together or they already know each other and they have a not too bad idea that we can help them polish with during the 6 weeks. We're going to have master classes every week of different topics, all the way from MTP to value chains. And because we want to not only stay in the process of methodology, we also want to talk to them about operations so that they can take that into account. Because from our experience, what usually happens is that we work a lot on post-its and ideation, and then we finish the courses, and then they go to reality, and it's a whole different game. The other thing is that we're going to have coaches that are specialized in methodology. So it's people who understand Agile and Lean Startup and EXO Canvas and all that stuff. And we want to have other guys that we call mentors that should be the ones specialized in either a specific technology, a product, or a market. It doesn't matter that they do not know about methodology. It just matters that they can give direct feedback about the product or the service itself. So it's very, very likely that you're going to be hearing from us in the chats. We have to be very active. We need a lot of help.
Awesome. You are not alone, Pedro. I keep saying an EXO coach never works alone. An EXO consultant never works alone. Now we are, what, over 5,000 of us. So yes,
It's
never work
alone.
Yeah. Looking forward to hear from you, Pedro. And
I will.
another initiative. See, that's what I said. When somebody opens their mouth, amazing things come out. So whose mouth should we open next? How are you doing, Danielle? I don't know.
Lars, thank you. I'm okay, Lars, thank you.
Good to hear that. Good to hear that. What's going on in Danielle's life these days?
Okay, yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity to express myself here. I am presently working with in launching my consultancy company. I'm still on the stage of building the website. I've hired a company abroad, not here in Cameroon. And the consultancy company will be leveraging what I've learned, the ExO methodology, even though I'm still going through my consultant certification, leveraging the ExO methodology to build ExO companies here in my country first. The idea is to give a little bit of breath in the economy of my country. And also I'm embedded with the Purpose Alliance, and I've been designated to launch, to carry out Cameroon Purpose Challenge, Creating Future of Work of Cameroon. And it's a daunting task for me, but I've been encouraged by all the other members to carry out the challenge and to stand as a leader in my country. And I know I'll be needing the help of every ExO coach from the OpenExO platform community, and also many others, people who are specialized in future of work I have met in my network in LinkedIn. So that are the two main things I'm working on. The COVID-19 pandemic is shaking and shocking our world in an unprecedented way. And we all notice that all systems, all sectors, and all industries are shocked and unfolding a change and a new reality to the world. So navigating this change, navigating this new reality, navigating all this, what we are calling a new, through what we are calling now a new normal, comes down to people who have a strong purpose to create sustainable solutions and adapt for the betterment of all of us all. So I want to be among these people. I want to be among purpose-driven leaders building something to change the world for a better future. And thanks for the opportunity you give me, Lance, to express myself here.
It's absolutely wonderful to hear about this work that you're doing. Don't get me started about all the exciting new markets that I'm in one or another way involved in trying to open some doors. It's so exciting.
Thank you.
Because the world needs us, right? They need to know
Exactly.
where to find us and how to make the best use of us. So now is the time. So you can count on us, Danielle.
Thank you so much, Lars.
Yeah.
And another thing is that I'm presently the only one in the community. I'm the only person in Cameroon here. So that's why I always have to call upon people from South Africa, or there's one person in Ghana, Daniel Monet, that I called, but he's not always available. He's also stuck in his own personal duty. So I should always be calling from you, from abroad there in the Western. So never mind, whenever I will be popping and say, please, Lars, I need your help. I need your clarification about this topic I'm going through, please.
You're always welcome, Daniel. And we have had a number of great conversations through different digital channels. It's always amazing to hear from you and hear about the challenges. But we should, and while you will be the first one to begin a movement in Cameroon, I think we always, all of us, need to keep being global in the way we operate, learn from each other globally. And also that is something the world needs badly right now. Somebody who is
Perfect.
connected and can connect and can build networks and can empower people and all these things. So congratulations on being the first one in Cameroon.
Perfect.
Many will follow you very,
Oh,
very
thank you.
feel it. My stomach tells me, and my stomach is always right.
Ah,
My head is not always
thank
right.
you so much.
Yeah.
But your stomach, your gut. Thank you, Lars. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. I think we now is I think Lance. We need to hear Lance's amazing voice.
My amazing voice.
Yes, your amazing voice. What's going on in your world?
So I'm from South Africa, Johannesburg, and I've done every OpenExO certification there is except the trainers workshop, which I start next week. So then I'll have every certification there is. And so far I haven't done anything with them. And it doesn't seem likely that I'll do anything with them for the foreseeable future. So when the world recovers, hopefully. But that doesn't mean I don't want to. So I'm like looking for opportunities, and I would be interested in learning as much as I can about coaching, doing coaching work, sprints, wake sessions, ExO workshops, you name it. But at the moment, I haven't. So I've been involved in a whole lot of other things with OpenExO, and working with different things with Kent, and then also with Yaroslav around the training certification, moving it out into B2B and other universities, which is quite interesting. And so I'm trying to look for opportunities around the normal sort of ExO services, I would suppose, to get involved with. But I'm very committed to OpenExO. So far, I haven't done other stuff yet. And so I'm really trying to get OpenExO working and operating properly, and creating abundance within our movement. So there's lots of work for everyone. But unfortunately, I don't have much feedback on the ExO stuff itself because I don't have experience of that yet.
It will come. I think like you hear on this call also, it's about really getting creative and actually identify the best way each of us and together can serve our respective clients, right? And I have a hypothesis, and I'm probably wrong because it's coming from my head and not from the stomach, but I have a hypothesis that as we are joining our great training and certification programs and all that, we keep seeing sprints opportunities everywhere and workshop opportunities everywhere, because that's what we are training for, kind of, in a way. So we are programming ourselves as well. I think what we should program ourselves for is the MTP, the finding purpose, connecting to sustainable development goals, and getting to understand the organizations and the people around us, and seeing how we can help them. And then we get creative. Once we have defined the problem, then we get creative around what solutions can we put together. And there's about more than 5,000 of us. We could put together any solution in a few hours. I'm pretty sure. With this amazing talent, right?
Yeah, it's difficult to know whether to specialize or generalize. Because, so with my podcast, I've interviewed at least 10 people on purpose. And so purpose is such a big thing at the moment. Yeah. Purpose-driven leaders, purpose-driven organizations. And so I get the feeling that we've almost missed the boat on that one, because every single person is doing purpose workshops and MTP, and it's huge and very important. But then I'm thinking,
Lance, we're losing
do I
you.
then start doing more of that? So generalist or a specialist, and how many different things you actually do? Because you could do, yeah, anyway, so you could do Google sprints, you could do all sorts of other things as well if you wanted to. But that's fine.
I still see that as, you know, a focus on the solution side. What I'm suggesting, and you know, it may not be the right approach for everybody, but I suggest we get really focused on the problem side of the equation and see how can we actually help. And I tend to see, and I think our clients tend to see as well, the right approach is probably a combination of different solutions or services, or a little bit of different services put together in new ways, because the world is changing so fast. The needs are real and they're coming up very quickly, and we are being disrupted in our industries. So I'm not sure that a sprint is necessarily the right solution in most cases, or a workshop. I think we need to think very differently about these things. I think that's our challenge. It's also our opportunity.
I think, I mean, to your point earlier, Lars, about coaching, that's one of the things that really interests us about how the ExO model works. And so before, you know, actually I was working in government and implementing a program similar to ExO at a project level, right? But the corporate immune system took us out, basically. And the thing that ExO does, and the way that the sprint works in having the internal teams do it, is it starts to adjust the thinking of the organization. And the edge component to the sprint helps to avoid the problems you have with a corporate immune system, or what we like to call corporate immunodeficiency syndrome, actually. Because I think, you know, the immune system is good in a corporate, but when it starts attacking good things, and that's the problem. Yeah. And so that's one of the things that we really like about the process is it's not consulting, it's coaching. Yeah. We're not going in and telling you what to do. We're helping you define your own future. And, you know, people who create the plan don't fight the plan. We just find it works much better than a consultant process where a consultant's coming in and telling you the coaching is the key. That's what shifts the mindset.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk a lot about this. I'm not going to today so much, I think, but I totally agree. I think the fact that everything is getting disrupted right now pushes us really into connecting with, you know, why are we here? What is it we really need to deliver through our organizations? What is it our market needs, our clients need, our families need? And that requires change of mindset. And this is why I think the coaching role is so important. It's probably the most important 21st century skill. And it's not really being not many organizations are training on coaching. They are not really coaching each other that much, if at all. And they don't understand really. They haven't often tried coaching and to understand that actually it helps you to open up your mind to see other options than you saw before. So rather than go down one of the three typical options that you tend to look at when you make decisions, actually that could be another 8 or 9 or 10 different options that you have never been thinking about before. And I think somebody needs to coach us to get to that new variety of options and make different decisions. And this is why I'm so excited about coaching, and because we see the impact that coaching can have in our sprints. That's where we have the time, we have the 10 weeks to really massage the mindset of the participants and see those breakthroughs and see that change. What I'm also suggesting is you can still deliver coaching, also ExO coaching, without a sprint. You can actually, you can even position that as a core service from your side, right? And this is a low-hanging fruit. You can coach for an hour. You can do it online. You can charge for an hour. You can deliver value. You can also give an hour for free, deliver value, and then position more coaching. And that can lead to workshops. It can lead to sprints. It can lead to other things. And so coaching is such an amazing door opener, but it's also such an amazing way of actually creating change. And that is what everybody needs. And you don't need to buy a 500K sprint to get started, right? You can buy 1 hour from Ken or from Eric or from Pedro or from Anne or Jason, or, you know, and get started and understand why this is so important. And by the way, and I always speak highly of several books about coaching, and I really recommend, for example, The $1 Trillion Coach about Bill Campbell, and Anne would have more story on Bill Campbell. But that's an amazing book of Apple and Google and these tech giants, and how they understand the importance of coaching and actually use coaching, especially in the top levels of the organization, but also with new talent and in recruitment situations. You're going to meet a coach as one of your interviews, and these things is very, very interesting how they understand the power and the importance of coaching. And I think one of our key messages really in our market when we are out selling is actually to push coaching first. And that's something I spend a lot of time doing, because it's not, you don't need to buy a product or service. I can help you to get started on coaching, understand that, hey, you guys can coach each other in the organization with a little bit of practice, with a few common, well-proven models for coaching. The GROW model, for example, there are great simple models that can do miracles in coaching, and that changes the game in your conversation with prospects. They understand, wow, okay, you're not here to push something expensive to me. No, I'm actually here to help you. And just by asking 3 or 5 questions, I can change your day, guaranteed. Right? And you can do the same with any of your clients. So this is why I think coaching is underutilized also in our deliveries from the movement. So it is about changing mindset. That's the key outcome also from the sprint. But we are not playing to our strength the way we could be by positioning coaching, training. We need to practice coaching, and we should do it with each other. Above and beyond our certification, because we get better at it every time we try. So that's really the key theme that I wanted to bring up in this session here as a piece of inspiration. And there's tons of content and stuff that, you know, to help you. And I can definitely steer you in a direction that will save you time and accelerate that if you find that interesting. I think also, for example, as I mentioned, Jason, you could probably use this also in your network, right? With because the whole market is disrupted and nobody knows what to do next. Are we just waiting for travelers to come back, or what are we doing here? And that requires, you know, I think coaching, honestly. And if not you, then maybe you're the one to initiate that it happens, that the players in the industry actually accepts to to share ideas, share concerns, share challenges, maybe in confidentiality with the coach, or maybe in a network, in the community around what you do, and put that on the agenda. That's the positive agenda, rather than shit, we are in trouble. What do we do? But the coaching gives a positive approach to it, right? And it gives hope, and hope seems often to attract people who need it the most. And then you can, if you can either deliver the coaching yourself, or you can bring in somebody from the community to do it, and to build that community around yourself and your organization, as well as your clients and partners. And I think everybody have that opportunity, and it's pretty straightforward, honestly. And it's a low-hanging fruit. And so there you go. That's the idea. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I know, I mean, that's really kind of the shift we made, you know, after we got past the shock of what was going on and how quickly things were changing. Is the, you know, as an organization, we shifted to, you know, more webinars. We started up some think tanks around specific topics in the industry that brought the members together. We're launching an ambassador program that brings in, you know, key people within different countries. So, I mean, right now we're in listening mode. You know, we're trying to hear from the audience and see, you know, from the network, to see what their challenges are, and then, you know, having some virtual events in order to, you know, starting some virtual events in order to start sharing, you know, those points and such, you know, ideas, and from other people within the industry who have specific suggestions or coaching ideas as well. So, and it's working. People are really appreciative of the effort.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That builds loyalty as well, right? That you're doing the right thing for the right reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, I have some input there that I got that I mentioned to Fabian and Yaroslav. I just finished on this Monday my certification. So you have one more in the pool. Now, I told them, it's like one of the things that I enjoyed the most were a couple of things of like during the weekly calls, to engage with the trainers, right, and receive feedback on how we were thinking and how we were approaching our clients in different situations. And then it was amazing. Unfortunately, Vanessa had to step out, but Vanessa was my advisor during the advisor call, and it was amazing to see her work and have her tell me, it's like, hey, well, when we have this call, pay attention to this, and this, right? Because this is going to be what you are going to take away from what I'm going to give to your client. And we're having another debrief call end of this week or early next one to kind of like discuss those points. And I think that's where the real value that, as you were saying, Lars, the community is not necessarily leveraging. Mostly if we have an internal economy with EXO coins, but like we should be practicing a lot more the coaching. I found I'm also a project management PMP, and it's very easy for something like that model to separate from consulting and coaching. And as you were saying, it's like if I go to someone that is looking for coaching, I go them with consulting concepts, right? They will feel like we are pushing a product. But right now we have so much knowledge, right, that we are not putting it exactly in the bucket of consulting or exactly in the bucket of coaching, that then when we begin to talk and we get excited, it begins to feel like a sales pitch of a consulting activity. It's like, I know a lot and you don't know enough. So hire me or hire our services to get you through that hoop. And I told Fabian that I think that there's definitely what you're saying, Lars, right? There's definitely a way that we can put everything back in a framework that we can use. So we make sure that the consultancy stay in the consultancy, and we begin to practice the coaching component, not only with clients, but with us, seeing how we are working to enhance our capabilities. And plus it was super interesting. I had a separate conversation with, I don't know guys, if you remember Frank Fitzpatrick from ExO World, that he talked about, he's one of the Singularity University exponential medicines chief, I think it is. And he actually mentioned, it's like, if you take a second to realize how many thought leaders have coaches for themselves, you'll begin to realize how important it is that you coach correctly your clients. And it's like, interesting. I know for a fact that Peter Diamandis has one, Dan Sullivan. Yeah. So I wonder, is like, maybe here is something really powerful for our organization to build upon and offer to each other some level of coaching service.
Absolutely. Very exciting, and congratulations again on your certification. That's a nice milestone and another step. There's always something to learn and explore when it comes to coaching, obviously. And presidents use coach. I'm not sure anymore if I can use that example with president. I don't know if all presidents use coaches. They should, but that's something we used to say years back. Presidents use coaches, so you can too, right? So that's another story.
Not all presidents, apparently.
Yeah. Apparently.
Sorry.
Okay.
Working on removing him.
I also just realized I cannot use that example anymore, really.
You could use it. You could use it as see what happens when a president doesn't use a coach.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
Just out of curiosity, I mean, I've been coached before with a business coach, multiple coaches. But has everybody on the call or nobody on the call had a coach? No?
Nope. Yeah, I've had a personal executive coach for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get as much as I get out of this, but I mean, he was, coaching me to deal with some of the politics inside of the government, right. Really. But yeah, coaches are powerful because they, what they do is they hold you accountable. Yeah. Right. They drive you forward.
And yeah, by asking the right questions. And right. I think, and there's definitely, you have to have that right fit with the person. And in the $1 Trillion Coach, Campbell talks about, that the person has to be coachable as well, which I think is a big part of it. And I worked at Intuit when Campbell was the CEO and chairman. So it was, I had the firsthand experience of him. And so it is a great book, and he's exactly how they describe him. But I had a conversation with somebody the other day who is, we reconnected, and he's like, I'm interested in, you as a coach because, I've never had coaching, and I have an executive team that needs some coaching. And, it was kind of partly on the business. And he's like, our business is doing well, but I'm afraid, like, we need to keep it going well. And, I need to keep this trajectory. So I know I have to do something else, keep building on it. But also in terms of managing people. And I told him that I've been, when I was at Yahoo in New York was the first time. And luckily I had a chief sales officer who decided to invest in coaching and had a coach for every person that was a director on up in the sales organization. And, but there were people that, said, I don't want to participate. I don't need a coach. I don't want to coach. I don't think coaches are, worth it. And so that to me was super interesting. And then also, we were all assigned a coach, and they did tell, the organization was very good, but they said, if you want to fire your coach, you have the right to do that, and we'll get you a new one because this fit is so important. I did fire my coach, which felt, you know, awful, but I just said, you know, this isn't working for me, you know. And the one that I did get the second time around was amazing. And then I hired her on my own after the program finished. But it was a hugely valuable experience.
So what wasn't working with the first coach? It's always good to learn from things that didn't work as well.
Yeah, I mean, the rapport was just not there, and he was it was funny. I was in New York and he was in Chicago. It was also before, you know, all the video conferencing tools. So we were doing it by phone, and it was my first experience being coaching. But he actually had a very dry voice, and so I felt like I just felt like his energy level wasn't there, and I didn't feel
You didn't
energized
feel it, right?
or
You
pumped
did,
up,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And you know,
Yeah.
it wasn't, you know, obviously his suggestions didn't resonate with me either. And so, but they said, you know, we're perfectly happy to switch. He is one of our top coaches, you know, in terms of feedback. And I said, okay, but didn't work with me. And then I got a new coach, and she was amazing. And another thing that was kind of very interesting in that program was that they set it up so that we had to have one public goal that was shared throughout the organization, and it could be anything, but it had to relate to your job at Yahoo. And then we could have one private goal as well that we worked on with the coach. So I thought that was a very generous thing for the company to do as well.
Yeah, good.
Amazing.
I have to drop off. Thanks, everybody.
I think we all have to. It's been great to see you all. We did get to talk about coaching and a lot more. So looking forward to do this again very soon.
Thank you, Lars.
Yeah. So stay safe and healthy and inspired, and keep on rocking. See you out there.
Thank you, Lars.
Nice seeing you guys. Take care.
Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.